for a touch of mascara. Her long golden blonde hair was neatly done into a French braid. Tammy would always wear it like that when she was younger. It stopped her hair from getting too knotted when she went riding. Tammy had a natural curl to her hair that became like a bird's nest at the slightest gust of wind. She usually wore it straight, but that took a lot of flat ironing. On humid days, Tammy's hair was also braided, or it'd just puff up like a dandelion. Today, Tammy had chosen to wear a light blue short-sleeved cotton shirt with snaps down the front. The top few buttons were open, allowing her collarbones to peep out. She wore no jewelry except for her watch. It was a gold Cartier that used to belong to her mother and was the only watch Tammy had ever owned. Her shirt was neatly tucked into her faded bootleg denim with a dark brown leather belt and a small silver buckle through the waistband. The cuffs of her jeans hid the tops of her well-worn leather ankle boots. Today, Tammy looked like a more mature version of what she'd looked like when she was a teenager. She was no longer a stick figure, but a slender, well-curved woman who kept herself in good shape. Tammy hated running. Instead, she spent 40 to 50 minutes every morning on her elliptical machine. It was much better than running, and with her large flat-screen TV, she could walk through any virtual terrain she liked. This morning, it had been the woods and the mountains, with birds chirping and a beautiful waterfall. While she hiked through the virtual mountain path, her mind had been full of Greg Watson. If she was being honest, it had been full of Greg Watson since the day she'd arrived back home and found he was not only a guest in her house, but its part owner. Tammy stood staring at her reflection in the mirror, waiting for that burst of anger she got whenever she thought of having to share her home with him, but it wouldn't come. "This is all his fault," Tammy hissed to her reflection. Why did he have to be so darn nice and honest about Brian's will? Tammy couldn't even get cross at her uncle today for some reason. Instead, every time she thought about walking out her bedroom door, all she could think of was running into Greg. Her emotions did not react to that as she would have liked them to. Over the past few days, when they'd been working together, she had found herself looking forward to seeing him. But she'd managed to keep those feelings under control, putting them down to enjoying their detective work while looking into the avalanche at the ski resort. Today, she knew those feelings were about both their investigation and working alongside Greg. "Oh no, Tammy," Tammy whispered to her reflection. "You can't do this, girl." She dropped her head back and looked up at the ceiling. Remember where having feelings for Greg Watson got you in the past. A soft knock at her door had her head shooting around to look at it. Her heart fluttered and she stood holding her breath, staring at the door. "Aunt Tammy?" Bryn's soft voice called through the door. "Are you awake?" "Yes, sweetheart," Tammy said, quickly shelving her emotional turmoil and rushing to her door. Something in Bryn's voice didn't seem right. Tammy opened the door, her eyes widening when she saw Bryn's tear-stained cheeks. "Oh, honey, what's wrong?" Tammy asked as Bryn threw her little arms around her waist and collapsed against her in tears. "I miss my mommy and daddy," Bryn said through her sobs. "Oh, sweetie," Tammy's heart broke for her niece. Tammy wrapped her arms around the shaking child, leaned over, and closed her bedroom door. She led Bryn over to the bed where she sat and pulled Bryn onto her lap, holding her while she cried. "I'm sorry," Bryn whispered through her ragged breaths. "Never be sorry about how you feel, honey," Tammy told her. She held Bryn's head against her chest with one hand and placed the other around her waist, rocking her gently. "You're going to have these moments, and when they come, we will ride them out together." "I just feel so silly," Bryn sniffled. "Bryn, you lost your parents, and they were a part of you," Tammy said gently. "Do you feel like this?" Bryn asked Tammy, cuddling into her. "I do," Tammy admitted. "When I was young, I lost my mom. I used to do the same thing you're doing now. Whenever I had a sad moment, my dad would cuddle me in his lap and we'd sit remembering her together. He told me that while the wound inside was healing, there would be moments."